Real policing is, it really varies. I think policing is a culmination of everybody says, I like this job. This is what I was called to do. Well, if that's true, then how is who you are as a person? How does it fit within that realm of expectations of being a police officer? If if you grew up in a bad neighborhood and say you didn't really have a lot of positive interaction with the police and you thought, there's a better way this can be done, you know, and you're in here, what is that better way? Make that better way happen. It's to some people, policing may be coming out and why am I here? Well, me and my wife are arguing because the car payment was late. Well, that's not a police problem. We don't need to be out here for that. Have a nice day. I'm not saying that officer's wrong. He's 100% right. It's not a police problem. He may not want to spend the time. But you may have another officer that goes, well, what's the deal? Why is the payment late? Do you guys know what a budget is? Do you know how to budget? I know a Baylor student or I know somebody over here that's real good at budgeting. How about I send that person over here? Is that a police problem? No. But did you address their need? Because they're going to go back and they're going to say, the first officer, they'll go, well, he came out here, he really didn't tell us nothing. I don't even know why he came. And other people are going to go, this one guy came out here, and man, we were just arguing over the car payment. And he hooked us up with this person that not only came in and showed us, how to make our car payment on time, but how to get more bang for our buck with our food and how to put money away and take a vacation. Man, our marriage has never been better. We don't have the stress of money. All that came from just one thing. Because to me, policing is when I retire, die, whatever, they're going to take my badge and give it to somebody else. That's life. I mean, life goes on, But when you come out here and you interact with people, and there are some things you care about, and there's some things you walk out and you're going, I'm done with that problem, I move on. But you don't need to let that person know. Obviously, if I'm working a fatality accident, emotionally there's more of an attachment to that than the fact that somebody ran over your mailbox. But you got to invest in people. And even if you don't care, if you can convince them that right now they're the most important person in the world, it cuts down on complaints against officers. And when you reach out and you do those little problem-solving things, and you interact with people, how you doing, or don't just get out the car and speak to people because you want to run them to see if they're wanted, or the only time you get out is to take somebody to jail. You don't get out and just meet people, or you want to know something. Hey, how you doing? How's your day? Oh, hey, did you see the game last night? Yeah, who's breaking in houses over here? Really? That's why you want to talk to me? It's the only reason you got out, since you figured you can't put me in jail. You want me to tell you what's going on in the same neighborhood you spend 40 hours a week in? Why don't you know what's going on? When you build that dialogue with people, it takes the communication level to a different level. And you find you can bypass a lot of the stumbling blocks to effective communication. These typically are preachers, politicians, and disconnected police administrators. By that, what I mean, the ones who don't have any concept of the scope of the problem until it becomes a high-level problem, an immediate concern for somebody who's wealthy or has an immediate concern with the problem, then they're involved. But when it's smoldering, they don't. But when you get that community dialogue, the community will let you know what's going on long before it happens. They'll stand behind you. A lot of times officers will run. When you speak up on things, it doesn't matter how right you are. If it goes against the grain of the blue wall, they'll scatter to the four winds. But the community will stand behind you. And I think a lot of officers haven't figured out that when we go to court, it doesn't matter how good my arrest is out there on the street. There's this thing called a jury that's made up of people out in the community. And it sure does help when they already know you, or they know something of you, or somebody on that jury is going to say, hey, you know what, I know this guy, he helped my daughter get a job, or man, he helped me change a tire, or I've heard about. When you build that trust with the community, they know you, they see you in HEB, or they see you at the barber shop, or you stop in their school and eat, or they see you in a restaurant. It makes a big difference. Well, in reference to the morals in policing, most departments have a moral code. In fact, society itself has a moral code. And then each families have a moral code. So we're raised with morals. But when we come out here onto the streets, we pretty much operate on what's morally right, along with what's ethically right and what's legally right. And when you're interacting with people, you can't force your morals on them to the point that they're out of bounds because they don't line up with your morals. And then within your morals, I mean, if you've got officers out here that are treating people like dirt, do you say anything? Or do you just, well, you know, that's just so-and-so and how they are? You know, a lot of the things that we see impact our moral conditions. I mean, we see a lot of horrendous things out there. So it's easy to build a wall and just isolate yourself from the community. Well, then your morals start to change. They're all the bad people. They don't understand me. They don't know where I'm coming from. You know, in police morals, there's a public view of police morals and police culture, and then there's the real police culture. And they're two very different things. Most people who have been married to police officers or who have had that inside track into the life of the police culture will tell you it's not always the culture that a lot of people think it is on the outside, because a lot of it is due to a lot of the job stresses that come in. You know, you've got in bigger cities, you may have officers who become tempted to take money or participate in behavior that's not acceptable because it's so flagrant, everybody does it. You know, which we found out with New Orleans from studies. You know, you can look at some of the things that have happened in Chicago, most of the places where the Department of Justice has come in. You know, these are moral issues that are taking place. Look at what was found in Baltimore recently. I mean, that, if you want an example of morality within a department that has gone awry, even though that department has standards of conduct and morals, each officer comes with standards of conduct and morals. But look at what the Department of Justice found there, how people were treated. You know, when I come out there, are my morals more important than yours? What do we do when my concept and my morals are totally different than yours? And I'm trying to help diffuse the situation. Now we've got moral conflict. So I have to be able to step back and say, well, to de-escalate this, I'm going to let his morals ride, as long as he's understanding where I'm coming from. Or do I push my moral principles onto you? Because I've got a badge. See, we're going by my morals now. I'm here. This is my show. Then we start sliding into where the thing spins out of control. Then we're dancing around fighting, and all of a sudden you're resisting. And then it can go as far as to where you end up shot. Well, I was in fear of my life. And it could be a justified shooting. Let's roll it back. What did it come back to? We have moral conflict coming in. I'm not backing down. I'm not giving an inch. I've got a reason to be here. I'm the law, and if you weren't doing something bad, I wouldn't be here. So this is the way it's going to be. So rather than, if I can get you to do what I need to be done, you can have all the moral righteousness you want. But if I've got that ego, that God complex, we'll go back to the God complex. The God complex is in play now. And my morals are law. Your moral beliefs can wait. Now here we are in conflict. So it's about that ego, that God complex. My morals supersede your morals. Even though when I leave, I'm going to somebody else. So am I going to go there, and am I going to retreat and pull my morals back to allow them to have moral control? Then am I that way with everybody? Do I go to rich people's houses or white people's houses or black people's houses? When I'm with somebody, or gay or straight, when I'm with somebody different than you, am I willing to sit my morals down and let you have your way? But with you, I'm not going to do it. Doggone it, I'm here, my word is law. So you got to have that flexibility and master your own morals. And sometimes that means put yours in a box, leave them in the car, and let people be people, and let them deal with the situation on their moral level. They're more apt to understand you that way.